Hey YouTube, Bob here. Welcome to the next edition of my Nintendo Unboxed playlist. And in this one we're going to be taking a look at the Virtual Boy, released by Nintendo in 1995 as kind of a stopgap product to fill the void left by the endless delays of the Nintendo 64, or at that time known as the Ultra 64. But Nintendo wanted to give gamers something to play on to tide them over until the release of that big home console. So what we got was this kind of hybrid home console, maybe handheld kind of Virtual Boy that kind of sort of had stereoscopic 3D graphics, but only in black and red. So yeah, there's kind of a mystery as to the marketing of this product and whether or not it should have been released at all. But clearly it was, because here it is. This is the Virtual Boy. We're also going to be taking a look at the AC adapter that was sold separately. And the fact that it was sold separately, well, it could have been because Nintendo was trying to save money on the purchase price of the Virtual Boy itself. And also could have been because they were trying to position this in the market as a handheld device, which in my opinion, due to the clunky way that you had to play it on a stand and kind of put your face into the visor portion of it, it really wasn't a suitable portable system. So I think they were trying to market it that way, especially with this little badge here that says power up your Virtual Boy system. You're going to see several references to the use of batteries, further trying to push it as a portable handheld type of thing. But I'll leave that up to you guys whether or not you think the Virtual Boy was more of a portable handheld or more of kind of a tabletop console type of thing. But right away on this very grungy mid to late 90s aesthetic box here, we've got high resolution 3D graphics, and it is hard to believe these were actually 32-bit graphics. I guess technically that really didn't translate well into, you know, anything that's impressive as far as the aesthetics of the graphics went, but technically I guess they were 32-bit. And the first experience you got to see that was Mario's Tennis, which was packaged inside here with the Virtual Boy. You did get digital stereo sound, just like the original Game Boy, and that was actually kind of cool because you did have to put your face kind of into this device, and the two speakers, of course, were to either side of it, so you did get to enjoy that stereo sound effect quite a bit. And then it says right here, batteries not included, right next to this ad for saving some money on Duracell batteries. And then here we're going to see something that is kind of a precursor to what we would see with the Nintendo 3DS, eye advisory for players 7 years and older. Because players younger than 7 years, their eyes are still developing, and this kind of pseudo 3D with the stereoscopic effect that Nintendo would bring to fuller fruition with the 3DS later on. You know, it wasn't the best for developing eyes. But we flip the box over here, got more of that 90s grunge look, further touting the features, the 32-bit RISC or RASC processor, digital stereo sound, everything that we saw on the front of the box here. Flip it around again, just got the Virtual Boy branding. Top of the box, same type of deal, all the features of the system. And then on the side here, there's some sort of proof of purchase. Looks like I did buy this one as new old stock, secondhand, but it looks like this one has a date of May 19th, 1997. So this month at the time of the filming of this video, also May, but in 1997. So then we turn it over to the back here. We've got the logos for several of the games that were released for the system, and it's not that difficult to collect a complete library of Virtual Boy games because there really weren't too many. Barring some of the more expensive ones like Jack Brothers, you can really get your hands on most of these games fairly easily, especially if you're not concerned about getting them complete in box. But there you can see Red Alarm, Telero Boxer, Galactic Pinball, Wario Cruise, Mario Clash. Those are some of the games that were ready at launch, and of course Mario's Tennis that was included inside. However, one of the common criticisms of Virtual Boy is you get a game like Galactic Pinball. Once you set aside the initial wow factor, which, you know, that's debatable how much of a wow factor there was of the 3D stereoscopic graphics all in glorious red and black, you ask yourself, well, why is this on Virtual Boy? You know, it's a pinball game. If you boil it down to it, it could have been done on any other handheld at the time, and maybe even better on those handhelds. So really calls into question the legitimacy here of why this product works, or why this product exists. Why do we have it? Well, I think they had a kind of a prototype going. I think this was made by Gunpei Yokoi, the same creator as the Game Boy, and when it failed commercially, he was given kind of a side seat, a seat outside of the table at Nintendo, as to what I understand goes on in business practices in Japan. He was actually kind of ousted or punished for this product that he claimed at the time wasn't even finished yet. It shouldn't have even gone to market, but it did. And Nintendo tried to make the best of it. So we've got here the double grip controller for the ultimate in high-tech gaming precision, which this works for a Telero Boxer quite well, but I think to my remembrance, and to be honest, it's been a long time since I played some Virtual Boy games, I really don't see a use for the dual D-pad here. But double control pads command direction and depth of virtual play. So I think they were kind of, you know, getting the controller, you know, ready for this experience they were anticipating gamers were going to have. But unfortunately, with the games they actually produced, did not actually end up being necessary in most cases. Dramatic 3D effects created with high-resolution LED optics, which, yeah, it did have a rather immersive stereoscopic effect, but again, LED optics very limited to red. Dramatic widescreen game vision, digital stereo speakers provide incredible sound and enhanced realism. Sturdy stand and eye shade increase stability and ease of play. Well, they're trying to market that as kind of a bonus, but in reality, it's necessary. You need the stand to play it, unless you're going to break out the duct tape and actually tape this thing to your head. Then we got the 32-bit RASC, or RISC processor, for smooth animation and fluid play. So yeah, I guess that stuff is true, but clearly a marketing ploy. Nintendo itself didn't really know how to market this unfinished and really unnecessary, in my opinion, product. Plus, we've got the confusion, as I alluded to before. Is this a handheld? Is it a console? And then that brings up the AC adapter set. Plug in the Virtual Boy AC adapter for endless hours of fun. Look for this accessory and enjoy continuous action on all of your favorite games, sold separately. So I think that's what we're going to start with here in this unboxing, is the AC adapter, because there's some curious things about it. So we'll bring this up to the table here. And the first of the curious things, as I already mentioned, is that it was, you know, marketed separately here. I think kind of furthering Nintendo's desire to market the Virtual Boy as a handheld instead of a console. But what is kind of neat about it is this AC adapter right here. It's actually a Super Nintendo Entertainment System AC adapter. No differences whatsoever. You just need this little plug here to kind of attach it to the back of the Virtual Boy controller. So you'll get to see how that works. Plug in for non-stop power. And again, we've got that 90s grunge aesthetic going here. And something that's further curious about this release is the extent of the documentation is limited to the back panel here. I bought this brand new in box, so I'm assuming it came with everything several years ago, over 10 years ago now I bought this, but there was nothing in the box as far as documentation goes. I think it's just all right here. So make sure the power switch on the controller is in the off position. Then remove the battery box from the back of the controller. Put your thumb on the round end of the tap and pull the lid open. It opens like the hood of a car. All right, got some nice description there. Plug the purple AC adapter connector into the tap. Make sure the cord is in the slot, then close the lid. Slide the AC adapter tap onto the back of the controller. Plug the AC adapter into a standard wall outlet when you are ready to play a game. Slide the switch on the controller to the on position. Whew, quite a bit of instruction there. So I'm going to open this up here, and I'm going to open it at both ends. So that leads me to the final kind of interesting thing about this packaging. And maybe it's just that I couldn't figure it out, but I couldn't figure out a way to package this without opening both ends. And you'll see what I mean in a moment here. So we open it up here, and this is the end where the cord is kind of looping around. And you see I can't get the AC adapter out because it's getting hung up on the prongs from the AC adapter itself. And I've tried putting the AC adapter in all these little compartments, but that is the only position in which it fits. So in order to get this out, I'm going to have to open it up from the other side. And there's the AC adapter. And you can see the prongs there where they're getting hung up on the cardboard. So that means I'm going to need to grab it from here and pull it out this way and have the cord come through. So maybe I just didn't spend enough time with this puzzle of a box to figure out how to get it how it was originally, but that's the best that I could come up with, having that open it at both ends system kind of going on there. But as we undo the twist tie here and take it out of its bag, you will see that this is nothing more than an AC adapter for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Right down to that plug that is pretty unique for that system in itself. The Sega Genesis AC adapter plug here fits into many different consoles. It's a lot more universal. This one tended to only work with the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. And then this final piece here is the tap that was mentioned in the instructions. You can see it's got some connectors here that will align with what's on the back of the Virtual Boy controller. But this is how you open it like the hood of a car. And you can see you plug the end into that port right there, like so. Then close it up. So it becomes like kind of a dual brick situation here, but this goes into the wall and this slides onto the back of the Virtual Boy controller. So let's unbox that and take a look and see how it will work. Alright, so let's pull the tab up here, open the end, and once we get this open you're going to see another unique characteristic here of the packaging that I've really only ever seen this with the Virtual Boy. Is this kind of egg carton material. Nintendo has in recent years just been using standard cardboard and previous to that styrofoam, of course, but this is the first time that we've seen that kind of egg carton material. And then of course here we've got the first ad for get 6 free Duracell batteries. Just register this product by calling the number or mail in the enclosed registration card, which we'll take a look at as well. Alright, so if we remove this, nothing really on the other side necessarily. But then we've got the bag with all the documentation, and curiously enough, I think I remember, so that's where I put it, the actual pack-in game of Mario's Tennis was in here as well in its own bag. So let's take this out and see what we have. There's the Mario Tennis game in its own little baggie. I always quite like the aesthetic of these cartridges, kind of foreshadowing what we were going to see with the N64 just a few months later here. Got the little ridge on either side, no end labels of course, but what we do get, which is kind of nice, is a dust cover. Something that a lot of us wish we got with the N64 games as well, but you do get a dust cover with Virtual Boy games. And we've got the manual here for Mario Tennis, kind of a consumer precautions booklet for the Virtual Boy. Of course, the Nintendo Power subscription. and then the card to register to get your free 6 Duracell batteries. And then we'll take a look at the manual for the Virtual Boy. So right away we can kind of see here that this is much bigger than a standard instruction manual for a Nintendo product. Full color front cover, very nice. Open it up here, got a whole bunch of warnings because Virtual Boy. Table of contents. All the components, got the head unit, the visor, the stand, and the controller. And how to set it up. Setting up your stand, and we'll do all this on camera here too. Attaching the Virtual Boy to the stand and attaching that pack or tap that they're calling it to the controller for your power. There's one with batteries that came with it, and then there's the separate AC adapter that we took a look at. And how to get the batteries into that battery tap. More warnings. Taking the dust cover off the game cartridge. Making some adjustments here. Make it comfortable to use, which good luck. It might be comfortable for 5 minutes, but you're going to get some neck strain sitting like that for hours. It's funny how many parallels there are with this in the 3DS. How to got an IPD dial. What does that mean? Interpupil distance. Okay. So yeah, just like there was a 3D slider. I don't think that controlled the intensity of the 3D effect. I think it brought things into alignment because pupils, of course, have different distance between their pupils. So in order for the 3D graphics to appear correctly for any one individual, you might have to make that adjustment. Look at this 17-step list of precautions and maintenance. Quite a finicky and high-maintenance device, this Virtual Boy. 5 steps for taking care of your game packs, which, to be honest, those were pretty durable. Removing and replacing the eye shade if you need to clean the lenses. Troubleshooting, yeah, if you drop this thing, which was entirely possible given the demographic it was intended for, you could knock some things out of alignment. So I bet Nintendo got lots of service calls for the Virtual Boy. Misalignment, yeah, that's what we're talking. It's possible that the Virtual Boy may come out of alignment if it is hit or dropped. If it is dropped or you have difficulty seeing the screen or experience nausea, blurred vision, or dizziness, then the Virtual Boy may be out of alignment. To check the alignment, you can turn a special alignment check screen. So a little bit of a code here to get that, and then you can recalibrate the alignment on your Virtual Boy. And then the list of replacement parts here, which if you want an instruction booklet, consumer information and precautions booklet, or game pack cover, no charge for those. It's actually kind of nice for the game pack cover. But we got a plain black back cover here. Very nice. Alright, then we've got our battery registration. Fill this out now before you start playing your Virtual Boy system and leave reality far behind. There's a little bit of a nod to Project Reality, which was the code name for the Ultra 64, or later the Nintendo 64. You'd better fill this out and mail it in. And hey, print neatly so we know where to send the free Duracell batteries. Or if you want the batteries even faster, just call the number day or night. Have the serial number of your Virtual Boy system handy when you call. Offer is worth about $8, and the card is a lot easier to deal with than trying to mooch the cash off your friends. So, yep, Nintendo trying to, probably realizing, oh my gosh, 6 AA batteries, that's a lot. Is this portable, is it not? Nice little offer to include there. I don't really remember how much gameplay you would get on the 6 batteries, though. Probably not a whole lot. And then here is the Nintendo Power subscription. Very 90s. Super Power Supply catalog. Might take a look at some of those in future videos. Those were always neat. Get the power. Virtual Boy Consumer Precautions booklet. Boring stuff. I think this one's actually more of a poster. Yeah, I'm not gonna spend too much time with this, but even more warnings. more precautions, several different languages. And then finally the instruction for Mario's Tennis. Let's take a look and see what we got in here. Nintendo seal of quality. Hey, we got color. Awesome. There has never been a tennis game like Mario's Tennis. Mario, Yoshi, and the whole cast of your favorite characters move freely around a completely three-dimensional tennis court. If you move to the net, and your opponent lobs, the ball seems to actually fly over your head. There's never been a game that was able to so realistically create the feeling of depth on the court. You'll find yourself trying to turn around and check the line when your opponent slams a passing shot down the line. It's time to prove that you can serve, volley, and rally with the best of them. So the full color continues. Got some Virtual Boy calibration instructions here. Reminder of the focus adjustment for the pupil distance thing. What the control does. And this one actually does seem, does it use? No, it doesn't use the R control pad for any particular reason. Low battery indicator. It will flash when it's low. A little key or table here about what the buttons do. Different modes. What's going on screen. Hey, we got some art here. That's cool. Different characteristics of the players. Yoshi trying to eat his racket. I've never seen that before. Toad seems sleepy despite the fact he's had caffeine. And still Donkey Kong Jr. Interesting, back at this time Donkey Kong Jr. was in Super Mario Kart and in this game. Mario's Tennis School. Looks like we got some hints and tips here. Maybe some general tennis rules as well. Yeah, some of the terminology. And then a page to keep score, which very few people probably ever used. So there's that 90s aesthetic on the back too. Always like that. All right, let's take a look and see what we have in this kind of egg carton. So the first thing we'll take a look at is the controller. Very unique controller. And the bag here along with the very short cord, which is totally fine since you have to be right up in the console in order to be able to play it, so you're not really going anywhere. But it did have a very unique connector. Something we hadn't seen before and wouldn't see since, I don't think. Am I correct in that? Yeah, I think so. I don't recall this type of connector being used on any other type of Nintendo hardware. This kind of plugs into the bottom of the Virtual Boy, so I'll show you how that works. But here's the controller. It's actually very comfortable. I do like this controller quite a bit as far as, you know, an ergonomic standpoint goes. The D-pads are nice. Easy to access the front buttons, and then there's some nice triggers here on the back that your index fingers would push. So it's actually a very comfortable controller. So this is the battery tap here. I think if you pull this forward here and then just kind of push up, battery tap comes off and actually makes the controller a whole lot smaller. But in order to get this open, just kind of push forward, and then that's where you would put your 6 AA batteries. And some instructions for the polarity and how to do that. So that is the controller, and here is the tap, they call it, with the AC adapter hooked up to it. So you just put this on in the same way, and then you have a dual corded controller. This plugs into the Virtual Boy, and then this plugs into the wall and actually passes the power through to the Virtual Boy through the controller cord. And this is how you turn the system on and off. The power switch right there. So it looks like the next piece to our puzzle that we will be removing is the actual Virtual Boy in a very interesting bag here. Kind of a really crunchy type of plastic. So I'm not going to talk while I take this out, just in case it's really loud. So prepare yourself for that. All right. So there is the red Virtual Boy. Got the focus, that little twisty knob thing to adjust for the pupil distance. Then on the underside here, this is actually the cartridge slot where you would put a game like Mario's Tennis. I'll show you how that goes in a moment. Got an EXT port here, which I think was for multiplayer. I think they were intending some games where you could link multiple Virtual Boys together. Never happened, I don't think. I think maybe you could bought the cable in Japan, because I know in Japan they had some accessories that were released there that were not released here. But you got the controller port, headphones, and then volume. And I can never remember, actually I think right here. Right here and right here is where the speakers were. And while I'm taking a look at this side, I always found this interesting. There's kind of a rubber crash pad here that's got the Nintendo logo on it. So if you were to drop it and actually make contact right here, you'd be in luck because there'd be a little bit of padding on either side. But any other place it's going to hit the ground or anything else, you might knock some things out of alignment, as Nintendo said. So here is the back of the system where you would look through those lenses there, and there of course is a visor that I will put on, which is actually right here. And then the only other thing left in the box besides the visor is the stand. So let's take those things out and get our Virtual Boy set up here. So, got the stand with the little clip, Nintendo logo emblazoned on there. We'll open up the stand like so. Take the cardboard protector off the visor, and oops, and this visor here can be removed from this piece of plastic here if it gets too much facial oil or anything else on it. You can wash it. But that's how the visor goes. And snaps onto the Virtual Boy just like so. So there's the Virtual Boy with its visor. So then I believe this is the part where the clamp makes its contact. There we go. Got a secure connection there. And then there's a little thumb wheel here. You can kind of twist this and adjust the pivot of your Virtual Boy. Although it comes, maybe I have this backwards. It might be the case that I have this backwards, because as it is, it's coming way more forward than it is, or coming way more backwards than it is forward. So actually I think I might need to readjust this. Let's do that. Let's go like that. There we go. I'm a Virtual Boy noob, even though I've had this for over 10 years. Shows you how much I play it. There we go. Now it angles the right way here. So yeah, you got to stick your face in there for long periods of time. Not too comfortable. Actually, I think we will. There we go. You can get an idea of how that works. And then of course, like we saw before, we've got our controller. I'm going to take the tap off of it, but I've got the controller connector right here, and then that just goes right there and plugs right in, and then you've got your Virtual Boy. So there you have it. There is the 1995 Nintendo Virtual Boy unboxed. Stay tuned for the next bonus video that is going to be releasing at the same time of this one, and we're going to take a look at the carry case for the Virtual Boy that was not an official Nintendo product, but it was used by video rental chains such as Blockbuster that would rent consoles out to customers. So I have one of those, and we'll take a look at how all of the components fit inside of that in the event that you had ever rented a Virtual Boy from Blockbuster. So stay tuned, and you'll see me in that one. Take care.